welcome to Sports Around the World. I am Blessing Bassi. The headlines: Minister of Youth and Sport Development Sunday Dare charges NFF to hold Ghana Troy to high standards. Nominees for Best FIFA Football Award revealed. In tennis, commencement date for the Australian Open in January to be slightly adjusted. In boxing, Mike Tyson regrets winning world heavyweight title at a young age. Let's go on a short break. When we come back, we'll bring you more sports stories. Welcome back. The Ministry of Youth and Sport Development has given the Nigerian Football Federation the marching orders to hold Super Eagles head coach Ghana Troy to the highest standard contained in his contract following the team's dismissal two-leg draw against Sierra Leone in the 2022 AFCON African Cup of Nations qualifier. The Minister of Youth and Sport Development, Mr. Sunday Dare, made this position known at a meeting with NFF officials on Tuesday to reveal the technical support of the Nigerian-Sierra Leone AFCON qualifiers and other matters. He said the recent dismal performance of the Super Eagles in their qualifiers against Sierra Leone has raised a few concerns and brought to fore the need to do a quick critique. According to the minister, the government, while concerned about the dismal performance and non-discernible pattern of play and team harmony in the Super Eagles, is looking beyond the outcome of the Nigerian vs Sierra Leone matches as they are looking at the present and future administration of football in the country. The minister declared that Nigeria must demand a higher and better performance from the technical advisor. Meanwhile, the NFF president, Mr. Amaju Pinnick, has assured the minister that the football house will not shrink in its responsibility. He said a few changes and adjustments as discussed and suggested by the ministry will be put into motion. Some of these changes and adjustments, he said, include a Super Eagles administrative structures that will include a physical trainer, nutritionist, a psychologist, and 2 match readers or more. According to Pinnick, the new structure also includes the injection of 3 to 4 home-based players into the Super Eagles picked from the professional league and a mandate that the head coach must match weekly NPFL games and evolve a scientific template to benchmark the performance of technical advisor and the team. He said the NFF will operate the contract as an active document and hold the technical advisor to a higher standard. Legendary Nigerian midfielder Austin Okocha says he will score Ghana Troy 7 out of 10 for his performance since becoming Super Eagles coach. Roy has come under heavy criticism for the Eagles showing in recent games. The criticism intensified after the Eagles surrendered a 4-goal lead to draw 4-4 against Sierra Leone on match day 3 of the 2021 AFCON qualifiers. In the reverse feature in Freetown, the Eagles had to settle for a 0-0 score line. And when asked about his thoughts on Real as Eagles coach Okocha in a chat with former teammate Ifeanyi Udeze on Holt's Bed on radio program on Belia FM on Tuesday, he will score him 7 out of 10 because when he came in things were not steady and he has steadied the ship now. And asked about Roy's contract extension, the former Paris Saint-Germain and Bolton Wanderers star backed the NFF move. Nigerian winger Moses Simon is in line to return in action for Nate in Saturday League One away clash at Olympique Marseille. Simon has missed nets last two league games due to injury. The injury also forced him to miss Nigerians' 2022 African Cup of Nations qualifying doubleheader against the Leone Stars. Simon copped the injury in that 3-0 home defeat against champion PSG last month. He's expected to miss Wednesday away clash at Lens but could return to action against Marseille this weekend. The 25-year-old has scored once in 8 league appearances for Nets this season. Let's go on a short break. When we come back, we'll bring you the rest of the sports stories. Welcome back. Tributes have been paid to immense former France Rugby Union international Christophe Dominic, who has died aged 48. Dominic was best known for helping France knock New Zealand out of the 1999 Rugby World Cup. A witness saw him climb the roof of a disused building at St. Cloud Park near Paris on Tuesday before falling. Prosecutors have opened an inquiry into the cause of his death. Dominic played 67 times for his country and won the French championship 5 times with Stade Francais before retiring in 2008. In recent years, he had worked as a pundit for French radio and TV. His 1999 World Cup semi-final performance spurred France to a sensational comeback as he darted down the left of the pitch and seized the ball ahead of 2 New Zealand defenders to score a try. The All Blacks were leading the game at the time and had a brilliant Jonah Lumo in the lineup. And the Murray thinks tennis players should probably be required to take a COVID-19 vaccine to be able to continue to play on the tour. World number one Novak Djokovic said in April he wouldn't want to be forced to take a vaccine to be able to travel, but Murray hopes players will do that for the good of the sport, providing everything has proved to be safe. Djokovic, who tested positive for COVID-19 in June, accepted he would have a difficult decision to make should taking the vaccine ever become a condition of entry to tournaments. Murray is currently training and preparing for an unexpected Christmas at home with his family. The former world number one had been planning to fly to Melbourne in the middle of December to quarantine ahead of the Australian Open, but the Premier of Victoria has blocked players arriving before the end of December at the very earliest. The Australian Open is expected to be postponed by 1 or 2 weeks, says the Victoria Government Minister. The first Glam Slam of the year is scheduled to take place in Melbourne from 18 to 31 January 2021. However, COVID-19 quarantine regulations in Victoria mean players may not be allowed in the state until the end of December at the earliest. Victoria Sports Minister Martin Pakuna said it is likely to be delayed by a week or two. Tennis Australia had been hoping players could arrive in Melbourne in mid-December and quarantine for 2 weeks before starting the season on 1st January. If the players have to delay and arrive in late December, they could potentially have enough time to be ready to play in tournaments in the build-up to the Slam. But while it is likely players will be able to practice during their quarantine, it has not yet been signed off by the state authorities. In cricket, a fine all-round display from England's Nat Silver helped Melbourne start to a place in the Women's Big Bash final with a dominant semi-final victory over Perth Scorchers in Sydney. Silver 4-7 not out helped the Stars to their target of 126 in 16.2 overs. She earlier picked a 1-27 with leg spinner Alana King claiming 316 to restrict the Scorchers to 1-2-5-8. The Stars will meet either Brisbane Heat or Sydney Thunder, who plays on Thursday in Saturday's final. It will be a first final appearance for the Stars, who have never before finished higher than 5th in the table and turned around last year's place to top the group this time. They were rarely troubled by the Scorchers, who lost their way when King was introduced at the end of the power play. She immediately trapped players of the tournament, Sophie Devin IBW, to spark a collapse of 4 wickets for 19 runs, including England's Amy Jones, who made just 6. Let's go on a short break. When we come back, we'll bring you more of the sports stories. Welcome back. A board member of Kano Pillars Football Club, Ahmed Tijani, has slammed the club's newly appointed foreign coach. Speaking to Brilliant FM, Tijani said, ever since the inception of the French tactician, there has been no sign of intelligence and Pillars has been performing below expectation against lowly rated sides. We have seen his plan. If a coach is coming to a team, an expatriate who has a UEFA license certificate, as they said, certainly he should bring new ideas. Pillar has been playing lowly rated teams. Pillars have been struggling to win by close margins. In fact, there's a match they played with the academy team that ended 1-1. Kano Pillars management recently appointed the Frenchman Lionel Sokoy as new coach ahead of the next month's CAF Confederation Cup preliminary rounds. Sokoy, whose preferred formation is 4-4-2, last job as head coach was at South African club Black Leopards in September 2019. Meanwhile, former Super Eagles left back Ifeanyi Udeze has advised new Kano Pillars technical advisor Lionel Sokoy to work freely with other coaches of the team. Saimazu Gida, who play away to ASC Giraffe this weekend before the return leg in Nigeria in a fortnight, in one of their warm-up matches ahead of the game, Kano Pillars lost 5-0 to Nasarawa United at the Ahmadu Bello Stadium on Saturday. prompting criticism of the new coach. Udeze said to Koi, who was hired a few months ago, need to start working freely with his backroom staff as they know players better than him. According to the former Super Eagles defender, the coach can't be making all the decisions when he only just joined the team. There are other people who have worked with these players in the past and know them more than he does, so he needs to work with them to get the best from the players. ACF Giraffe is the most successful Senegalese team on the continent and play at the 20,000 capacity Stade Demba Diop. Leeds United manager Marcelo Bielsa and Liverpool boss Jurgen Klopp have been named on the 5-man shortlist for FIFA Men's Coach of the Year. World Football Governing Body has released the shortlist for its 7 individual awards to be presented at the Best FIFA Football Awards on December 17th. Bielsa was an eye-catching inclusion on the 5-strong shortlist for Best FIFA Men's Coach, with the championship-winning manager named alongside Hansi Flick, Julien Lopetegui, Zinedine Zidane, and Liverpool boss Jurgen Klopp. Future England manager Sarina Wiegman has been shortlisted for the Women's Coach Award along with Emma Hayes, who was 3 of her Chelsea players shortlisted for Women Player of the Year. Also Liverpool, Virgil van Dijk, Mohamed Salah, Sadio Mane, and Thiago Alcantara are in the running for the men's prize at the Best FIFA Football Awards. Manchester City midfielder Kevin De Bruyne is also in contention as part of the 11-player men's shortlist. England and Manchester defender Lucy Bronze is one of the 11 players nominated for the Women's Award. Liverpool boss Jurgen Klopp and Leeds United counterpart Marcelo Bielsa are on the men's manager shortlist. Chelsea manager Emma Hayes is in the running for the Women's Manager Award along with the Netherlands manager Sarina Wiegman, who will take over as England head coach in September 2021. FIFA says the winners will be chosen via a combined voting process involving the captains and head coaches of all international teams around the globe, an online ballot of fans and submissions for a selected group of more than 200 media representatives. Voting will take place between 25th November and 9th December, with the results being announced during a ceremony on 7th December. Barcelona presidential candidate Victor Font has insisted that Lionel Messi can be persuaded to stay at the club beyond the end of the season. The 6-time Ballon d'Or winner has spent his entire career with the Spanish giants but unsuccessfully attempted to force an exit during the summer, arguing that a clause in his contract allowed him to leave on a free transfer. Messi was eventually forced into a reluctant U-turn, but his current deal expires in 2021 and he will be free to open talks with foreign coach over a move from January. The 33-year-old is widely expected to leave, with Manchester City thought to be leading the race for his signature, but Font is hopeful that a new president will be able to convince him to stay after Josep Maria Bartomeu stepped down from his position earlier this year. Man City have reportedly drawn up a 10-year plan for Messi, who has scored 640 goals in 742 games for Barcelona. Let's quickly go on a short break. When we come back, we'll bring you the rest of the stories. Welcome back. Let's quickly round up with this story. The Welsh Rugby Union has given the go-ahead for games to touch and junior tag rugby to take place between clubs with immediate effect. Community rugby came to a close in March amidst the coronavirus pandemic. The 2020-21 season has been on hold, although clubs have been allowed to train in limited fashion, depending on whether they were in lockdown zones. The WREU says touch and tag games can only take place between teams in the same district. The sport governing body in Wales added it has sanctioned the introduction of friendly tags under 7s and under 8s. The touch rugby matches on a club versus club basis for all levels of the game. WRU also said that spectators are not allowed other than parents attending for safeguarding purposes who must adhere to Welsh Government headlines around social distancing and face coverings. That's all we can take for today. I remain blessed and Basi. Have a wonderful evening.